everyone. Thank you so much for clicking on this Netflix review. The fact that you're willing to sacrifice a few minutes out of your day to consume my content really does mean the world to me. And today we're going to be reviewing a really just surprising series, and for me actually, and that's called The Irregulars. But guys, before I carry on, I just want to let you know that I review everything that has just been released on Netflix. So if you're ever curious about whether something is good, bad, or completely average, then come check out my channel and I will let you know. So subscribe to my channel because I want to become your go-to Netflix guy. So guys, in summary, I'm just going to say I flipping loved this series. I really enjoyed it. This series took me for a complete loop. I knew nothing about this series. I didn't watch any of the trailers. I read none of the promotional materials for this. I went in completely blindfolded. And I was blown away when I happened to see a number 221B Baker Street. I'm a huge Sherlock Holmes fan, so I was like, okay, maybe that's just a really sneaky Easter egg. Little did I know that this series is based off of the Baker Street Irregulars by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. So, for those of you that don't know, this series is about a group of misfits. And these misfits are employed by Dr. Watson and his shadowy colleague, Sherlock Holmes. So yes, this series really just completely blew me away. I was not expecting any of that, and I was thoroughly surprised by it. But this is not the Sherlock Holmes story that you are used to. No, all of the characters you are used to, that you're aware of, such as Sherlock, Lestrade, Watson, they are complete and utter perversions of what you know them as. They are not the heroes of the story. The heroes of this story are the misfits, the irregulars. They are the heroes of this series. So this is a very supernatural take on the Sherlock mythos. And I flipping loved it. I love it when you can get a reinvention and done it right. This series is really fun. It's really engaging. It's supposed to be a horror. I never once necessarily got scared. So promoting it as a horror, I don't think is necessarily accurate, but there are horror elements in it and there are scary elements in it, and they did work really well. I just never happened to get scared myself. The best part of this series is by far the set design. You definitely feel like you are in Victorian London while watching this series. The performances as well across the board are great. I know people are going to get annoyed with the diversity in this series. I didn't have an issue with it. I think all of the performances were great. I can tell you right now why I believe they got cast, because they're all great at their job. But I know people are going to be upset. Why are there a bunch of these different people in ancient Victorian London? So you're going to get that. But I thought the series was great. I loved the performances. The set design was also fantastic. You were really able to immerse yourself and engross yourself in this supernatural take of the Sherlock mythos. So I thoroughly enjoyed my time watching this series, but it is not perfect. There is a massive plot hole in episode 1 that I will not get into because that's spoiler territory. But it really, after seeing that, I got really shook. I was really worried that the rest of the series might have these massive plot holes moving through as well. Thankfully, the rest of the series seems quite airtight. I might have to rewatch it again to really analyze it and see if there are any plot holes, but the glaring massive plot hole problem from episode 1 does not repeat itself moving through. I think also, I mentioned how a lot of people might get upset by the diversity of the series. I said I didn't have an issue with that. What I do think a lot more hardcore fans of the Sherlock series might have is the depiction of Lestrade, Watson, and Sherlock. Because, as I said earlier, they're perversions of those characters. Spoiler alert now, I'm going to warn you. But in this series, Sherlock is a druggie. And he's wasted all the time. Like, he's not necessarily the best character in the world. Watson is manipulative, he's rude, he's mean. He's not the lovable doctor that you know if you watch the series Elementary or Sherlock, or if you've watched any of the Robert Downey Jr. films. So yeah, guys, this series is not for everyone in that regard. It's a horror that's not necessarily scary. It's a Sherlock series that doesn't necessarily stick to the source material. So I know a lot of people might have quite an issue with this series, but if you are willing to watch this series, completely wipe what you know of the Sherlock mythos, if you're able to take it as its own, as a standalone series, I think you're going to have a great time. So I'd recommend this to anyone that's a fan of anything to do with anything supernatural or fantastical or horrible, and anyone that's a Sherlock Holmes fan that is willing to just let a few things slide. But guys, thank you so much for watching my review. You guys are the best. You're awesome. And I hope to see you again in another review.